Leo, let us talk about the second half of November 2025 and the kind of energy it is awakening in you. If you have Leo as your sun sign, your moon, your rising, or your Venus, this message is for you. The first part of this month may have felt like an odd mix of spotlight and shadow. At moments, you may have felt seen and in demand, and at other moments, strangely overlooked or misunderstood. Plans could have shifted. People around you may have projected expectations onto you. You might have felt the familiar pressure to shine, to hold it together, to be the strong one, even when you were tired or unsure inside. And now, as we move into mid month, the energy begins to focus on something more important than performance. It is moving toward authenticity. You are not being asked to dim your light. You are being invited to let your light come from a truer place. Less proving, more being, less asking, who do they want me to be? And more asking, who am I when I'm not performing for anyone? There is a quiet turning point available to you now. You may feel it as a moment when you finally get honest with yourself about what still lights you up and what does not, about which roles you are playing because they are real expressions of your heart, and which you continue out of habit or obligation or fear of letting someone down. The second half of November encourages you to become more loyal to your own soul than to any storyline about who you are supposed to be. In love and relationships, this is especially vivid. Leo energy loves love. You are generous with affection, attention, and passion when your heart is engaged. You enjoy romance when it feels alive and mutual. Yet there can also be times when you feel you must be impressive in order to be loved. Times when you put on a brave face or a big personality to cover over vulnerability. Mid-November invites you to explore a different way of being close. If you are in a relationship, you may notice where you have been giving a lot of visible effort while keeping some of your deeper fears hidden. Perhaps you worry that if you show insecurity, your partner will lose respect for you. And perhaps you have been carrying the responsibility for fun, for energy, for connection, while your partner simply follows your lead. You might have noticed this already in the first half of the month when small resentments popped up, or when you felt deflated after doing a lot for others with little emotional nourishment coming back. The second half of November supports real conversations about give and receive. You may feel drawn to say, I need to feel cherished too. Not just admired for what I do, but loved for who I am when I am not entertaining anyone. You might begin to share more honestly about your doubts, your hopes, your fatigue. When you lower the volume on performance and raise the volume on truth, your partner has the opportunity to see you more clearly and to step forward with their own heart. For some Leo people, this can deepen intimacy in beautiful ways. Your partner may surprise you with tenderness or understanding once they realize that underneath your strength, you sometimes feel fragile. For others, this clarity can reveal where a relationship is more focused on image than on substance. If that is the case, the universe is not trying to shame you. It is simply asking whether you want to keep giving your enormous heart to something that does not feed you back. If you are single, the second half of November turns your attention to the kinds of attention you say yes to. You may notice that you are less impressed by shallow flattery and more drawn to people who are genuinely curious about who you are. Not just your style, your talents, or your presence, but your inner world, your values, your long-term dreams, the part of you that thinks and feels when the show is over and the lights go down. You might see old patterns more clearly, times when you stayed with someone because they made you feel admired, even if the relationship left you lonely, times when you accepted inconsistent treatment because the highs were dramatic and addictive, times when you dimmed yourself in order to keep someone comfortable. Now you are ready to choose differently. The next chapter of your love life wants to be written with more self-respect and more emotional honesty. This is a powerful moment for self-love in the real sense, not just affirmations in the mirror, but daily choices that reflect your worth. That could mean ending a situationship that keeps you guessing. It could mean opening up to someone kinder and more reliable than your old type. It could mean being willing to be alone rather than chasing after any spark that appears. When you protect your own heart in this way, your romantic life may appear quieter on the surface for a time. Yet underneath a more enduring form of love is being prepared for you. Family and close friendships are part of this story as well. Leo energy often becomes a central figure in social and family circles. You might be the one who organizes things, who keeps people laughing, who holds the thread of connection. You may feel pressure to always be on to keep the party going or to play the role others expect. Mid-November invites you to notice how you actually feel in these roles. Are you energized or quietly drained? Do people see you only as an entertainer or as a full human being with needs of your own? You might find yourself pulling back a bit from certain social obligations, not dramatically, simply allowing more nights where you do not have to be the main source of energy. This is not you becoming distant. It is you reclaiming your right to rest, renew, and receive. The people who truly care about you will adjust. The ones who only come around for the show may fall away. That is information, not a failure. Turn your attention now to your work creativity and path in the world. Leo is deeply connected to expression. There is a part of you that wants your life to mean something. You do not just want a job. You want a sense of contribution, recognition, and creative flow. Earlier in the month, you may have felt pulled between practical demands and the desires of your heart. Perhaps you have been doing what is expected of you, while a different dream waits in the background. Or perhaps you are already on a path you chose, but you have lost some of the joy because the weight of responsibility has grown heavy. The second half of November offers a chance to realign, not by throwing everything out and starting from zero, but by asking where your true fire still lives and how you can feed it again. You might feel nudged to return to a creative practice that once made you feel alive. Writing, performing, designing, painting, teaching, or anything that lets your natural radiance express itself. Even a small return to this kind of activity can reignite your sense of purpose. In your career, you may be guided to step into a more visible position in a way that feels authentic rather than forced. This could mean leading a project, speaking up with your ideas, or finally sharing your work publicly where others can see it. It might also mean asking for credit, where you have previously stayed quiet while others took the spotlight. You're being reminded that your gifts are not accidental, they are meant to be used. At the same time, this energy asks for humility in the best sense of the word. Not shrinking, but understanding that your worth does not depend on applause. You may be tested through situations where recognition is delayed or where someone else receives attention you hoped for. In those moments, you are invited to center back into the knowledge that your value comes from who you are and how you show up consistently, not from one moment of praise or one external outcome. Financially, this period encourages you to look at whether your spending and earning reflect your true priorities. Leo can sometimes express love and generosity through material gestures, celebrating others, giving gifts, saying yes to experiences that create memories. There is beauty in that. Yet you may also recognize places where you have overextended yourself to maintain an image or to keep everyone happy. Mid-November supports choices that honor both your generous heart and your long-term stability. You might decide to set quiet limits around how often you play rescuer with money, or you may decide to invest in something that supports your creative or professional growth instead of more surface level spending. These are not restrictions for the sake of restriction. They are examples of you being the leader of your own life, including your finances. Beneath all of these outward areas, your inner world is going through a significant recalibration. Leo carries a strong connection to the inner child, the part of you that wants to play, to shine, to be adored, simply for existing. Over time, life experiences may have taught you to guard that tender part with layers of pride, humor, or control. The second half of November can gently loosen some of that armor so you can reconnect with what that younger self still dreams of. You may find yourself remembering childhood moments when you felt either intensely seen or painfully unseen. Perhaps a performance where you shone and felt completely alive, or a time when you reached for recognition and it did not come. or moments when you were told you were too much or not enough. Those memories might surface now not to pull you backward, but to explain why certain situations trigger such strong feelings today. For example, you might notice that a small slight or a delayed reply hits you harder than you expect. Underneath that reaction may be an old wound about being forgotten or dismissed. Instead of criticizing yourself for caring, you can show compassion to that younger you. You can say, "Of course, I feel this. That moment hurt back then, but I am not that powerless child anymore. I have more tools. Now I have more say in who has access to my heart." Emotional practices that connect you to warmth and self acceptance are especially powerful this month. This could be as simple as placing a hand over your chest and telling yourself out loud, "I am proud of you for how you keep going." It could be returning to something you enjoyed as a kid and doing it just for fun with no pressure to be good at it. Dancing in your room, singing, drawing, dressing up, playing games with people who make you laugh. These actions tell your nervous system that joy is still allowed. Your intuition is also strong now, especially in matters of leadership and choice. Leo intuition often comes as a clear felt sense of yes or no in the heart. You might notice that certain opportunities make your heart feel warm, open, and brave, while others make it feel tight or dull. The second half of November encourages you to trust that inner barometer. You do not have to chase every opportunity that looks glamorous if your heart does not feel alive in it. You do not have to stay loyal to paths that leave you feeling unseen or unexpressed. Spiritually, this is a time when you may be called to redefine what it means to be a light for others. Perhaps you have believed that being a light requires constant positivity, constant strength, constant inspiration. The universe now whispers another truth. Sometimes your most powerful light shines when you are simply honest about being human, when you show that courage includes admitting fear, when you help others feel less alone by sharing your own real process, not just the highlight reel. As the month moves toward its closing days, you may notice subtle shifts in how you show up. You may speak a bit more from the heart and a bit less from performance. You may choose invitations based on whether they nourish you rather than whether they make you look good. You may start investing time into one creative or professional direction that feels like a true extension of your soul rather than scattering your energy across things you only half care about. In relationships, you might feel drawn toward people who appreciate your depth as much as your sparkle. You may find it easier to walk away from dynamics where your role is to constantly uplift others while your own needs go unmet. In family and social circles, you might allow yourself more quiet nights and more real talks rather than always organizing the next big moment. And remember that this Leo mid-month message is only one part of your larger chart story. To understand more of how November is moving through your life, listen also to the horoscopes for your sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. Your rising sign often describes the kinds of situations and themes that appear on your path. Your moon sign reveals how you are experiencing everything emotionally. Your sun sign speaks to your core identity and purpose. Your Venus sign shows how love, money, enjoyment, and attraction are flowing for you now. When you listen to all of them together, you receive a richer, more complete picture. You can also listen to the signs of the people you care about: your partner, your crush, your friends, your children, your coworkers. Hearing what they might be walking through can increase your empathy. You begin to see that their reactions often come from their own lessons rather than from anything you did wrong. That awareness helps you respond with more wisdom and less reactivity. When you are ready to move beyond general horoscopes and into more personal guided support, you can visit mysticbolt.com. There, you will find tarot card spreads to help you with choices in love work and life direction. You will find astrology tools that let you explore your chart more deeply. You will also see a growing collection of spiritual and divination apps designed to walk with you through turning points, just like this one. For now, Leo, take a breath and remember this truth. You do not exist solely to impress the world. You are here to live a life that feels true to your own heart. The second half of November is your invitation to step more fully into that truth, to keep your generous fire alive while also protecting it, to share your light in ways that feel real, and to trust that when you choose authenticity over performance, the recognition that comes will mean far more because it is meeting the real you.